Today we're testing a 16 kilowatt hour battery by WeVolt Energy. And this one is rated for a 150 amp charge and a 200 amp discharge. And it's designed for 48 volt systems, and at that voltage nominal, it can deliver 314 amp hours. But I did a capacity test, and guess what I got? The first test was 308 amp hours, the second test was 310, and the final test was 309. So I asked the company, why is your battery not passing the capacity test? So the company did an investigation, and they're saying it's calendar aging. They're saying that this battery in June 2025 did 315 amp hours. And they said that it just naturally dropped to the figures that I'm getting. But this company is saying that they're not going to ship batteries out unless it has at least 320 amp hours. So by the time it comes to the customer, it will actually have the full capacity. That sounds like a lot of baloney. I test a lot of batteries with this capacity and they pull a lot more than that. Unless this thing was stored at a high temperature in a high state of charge, then maybe I would believe it a little bit. Anyways, moving on. Let's rip this thing apart and see what's inside. But so far, not a good look. It did not pass the capacity test. We have metal cell holders, the overpressure relief valves are not obstructed, welded terminals, welded balance leads. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4 temperature sensors with thermal glue. Not as pretty as the more expensive ones, but nothing wrong. We should find the data sheet for these rep cells. I know that's who makes them, and see if you can put them horizontally like this. I think a lot of these companies should stick with the horizontal one like the Yijing, because that's a really good design and all the cells are sticking straight up if that's a concern. Now, the BMS is not coming up on Google. It has a somewhat cheap looking fuse. This looks like an automotive fuse. I don't like the gold plating, it looks cheap. Connection seems solid. Nothing to criticize here, very basic battery. It's not UL listed, so you're not gonna see fire extinguishers or temperature sensors on the bus bars or any of that. But also no red flags really. I mean, pretty basic. Now supposedly the communication is super easy to use and it works with pretty much all inverters. So let's hook this up to a 12,000 XP and see what it can do. Fast forward the next day, and for whatever reason, the communication setup was super easy. It comes with a cable, it says battery down here, inverter up here. I changed one setting, I set it to Pites. And then I fired up the battery and it worked. Everything's working perfectly. The only other battery that was this easy to set up was a Ruxu. So yeah, that was very impressive. Now we're gonna do a load test. This thing can discharge 200 amps. That's like 10,000 watts. And over here we have a Tesla Model X. So we're gonna plug it in. Now let's disconnect solar so it doesn't have any help. It shows 64 amps on the screen, but it shows 72 amps with my meter. I'm gonna get another meter just in case. The Fluke agrees with the screen, so yeah, this meter is wrong, but it's off by quite a bit. This one shows 64, and down here we got 64, so yeah, we're believing the Fluke over this thing. So now it's actually charging at the full rate, and we're pulling 7,000, 8,000 watts, 10,000 watts, 214 amps. We need to lower it. 202. Okay, that's perfect. We did trigger an alarm state. We should probably lower it. Now we're pulling 199 amps, so we'll run this to 0 and see if it can handle it. The test is done and the battery is warm. And we're at 14% state of charge. It disconnected. Why did it disconnect? But there's no error codes. It shows that it should be working. We've got warning 26, and that warning code is battery low voltage. Maybe we need to change the settings to change the cycling behavior. Here we go. Discharge cutoff state of charge is set to 15%. So we're gonna set that to 0, and it should work. Let's see if it turns on. And it's on, and the car is now charging. So we'll continue the test down to 0. So it just disconnected at 9%. We're getting the low voltage warning at 51.1 volts. And I can't find a single setting that can change this. I guess we'll try to charge it. We'll hit it with some solar and see what happens. And we're charging. I've got an idea. Let's set it to lead acid mode and see if we can get it down to 0. So first let's turn off the solar, disconnect the cable, set it to lead acid mode, and it's back on. What do you know? But the voltage is at 50. I don't think we can get much lower. I think it's anticipating 314 amp hours, but we're not getting that. So the battery says 28 amp hours are remaining, but we're at 49 volts, so it's not gonna pull it off. I think that's what was happening. The communication system thought it had more capacity, but the inverter was saying, hey, no, it has low voltage. So it was the battery's fault. That's not good. Now it hit 47 volts and it's dropping rapidly, so let's turn this thing off. And the lowest I could get was 6% state of charge. Now let's turn on solar and charge it. So it works, but this communication cable is giving the wrong signal on state of charge, which is strange because this should reset after every cycle. It shouldn't have this problem. Whatever it measures from the last cycle, that should be the new capacity. And this is consistent with my capacity test results with 2 different machines. So yes, it does make sense, and they need to change that in the software. Whatever this measures, it should use that for the next cycle and communicate that with the inverter. So anyways, moving on, let's do a conclusion. So with this battery, we found 2 major issues. First, it's not pulling full capacity, and I got an email from them yesterday saying that this only happens in 0.1% of all batteries. And I test a lot of these batteries, and they pull a lot more, so I don't know. I'll leave that up to you guys to believe if that's true or not. Next, whenever it cycles, it doesn't use the capacity that it tested on the last cycle for the new cycle to communicate to the inverter when you have closed loop communication. So what that means is your battery is going to cut off from voltage and not from capacity. So if you're trying to cycle with capacity, it's not going to be accurate. And that's a pretty big problem if you're using these with hybrid inverters, which if you have closed loop communication, I'm expecting you probably do. Those settings are not going to be accurate. This is a software problem. Now the build quality wasn't bad, but it wasn't great, especially for the price. If you look at a Yijing battery, just look at the bus bars and the build quality. It is better, and that battery is literally cheaper by a few $100s. So yeah, I don't think this is a good deal. I think they could easily improve. They could get different cells, fix the software issue, and then improve the build quality. For example, add a circuit breaker like the Yijing. Make it have the same features as all the other ones that are cheaper, and then I think they'll sell some. But with how it is now, I would not buy this. This is not a good battery in my opinion. So I hope you liked the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.